Hello everyone, welcome to the part 3 of this video. In the part 3, we'll be looking at how we can be able to cut a particular section, how we can detail a section, and how we can be able to reflect those maths and the bar numbers which we are cut on the main plan to the section. My name is Sadasi Yunel and I'm your instructor. Now on the part 3 of this video, we'll be looking at how we can actually do effective detailing. Now, before we do that, you can look at the existing drawing. That's the essence why we need to have this Stonebridge template, so you can see some existing drawing to serve as a guide to guide you in order for you to carry out your detailing successfully. All right, because for you to start, you have to start from somewhere, not starting from nothing. Hello. So doing that, you can see with this template, it will serve as a guide because it's going to show you the existing job. Then what you just need to do is just to trace. You can see, so want to produce a unique section just like what we've seen on the screen. So in doing this, what we need to do, we just have to copy this section and we're going to reflect it back to what we have on our screen. So I'm going to show you how you're going to use this thing to provide a good section for our drawing and what the drawing that we've done previously on chapter 1, chapter 2, and now chapter 3. All right, so what we need to do is to highlight this, and we're going to see what we're going to go back to copy, or you can say Control C, or you click on copy to copy this. Rather, we're going to do a copy because we are not taking it down to another software. It's within the software, right? So that's a different type of copy. This copy is within the software, then this other copy will take you to other one. So let's use copy selection, okay? So we can copy this job down to the one over the job. But in Equidel, when we have the Stonebridge template, what it actually does is to give you a sample, and it's going to give you a space whereby you're going to use to execute your drawing, okay? And what you need to do here in this particular platform, it's not advised for you to save any drawing here, all right? Because most times it's not going to work, it's not going to save. So what you need to do is to highlight the particular drawing. When you highlight the drawing, you can use save as. You can use save as to save the particular project file. When you use save as to save it, then it will now take it back to other software. Then that one you've saved, you can now go back there and do what? You can go back there and use that particular one to start doing your drawing. With that, you can save with that particular drawing. But in here, you are trying to save, is going to be rejected, to be telling you no, that this particular file is what is programmed separately, because in the sense that you can still use it multiple times, so we don't want it to be overcrowded. All right, that's how you program it to be that way. All right, so that's by the way. So we have this now. So if you check what we have from the, now we'll go back to what we have already from the structural drawing. You can see this is what we copied to produce this. All we did is just to take off all of this. So we need to take back the grid if need be. If you still want to trace your grid, you can just copy, highlight all the grid and copy the grid. So in this section, it might be wise for you to copy the grid at one side so that we don't have all of these labels. So you can copy the grid at one side, or the grid bubble. That's what I mean. So we can come over here and we'll paste it, because I use here as my reference point. So I'm going to click there as my reference point. So on the plan, you can see what we have. You can see the plan, what we have on the plan. So I can decide to take this too and move it down instead of putting it here because of the call out label. So let me use the upper part and I'm going to shift it down to this point. Okay, so click it over here. So you can see I just want this edge to be free and we'll have all our detail, and I want this edge to be free. I don't want the label, I don't want the grid as this label to be on all the perimeters, just like what we have in the existing drawing. Mind you, this is just a slab. On the beam section, when you want to do your beam, you can represent it this way. But for the slab, I just want to keep it simple so that it will not be colliding with our detail, right? With our call out labels. Okay, so that's by the way for the slab. So what we need to do right now, just to move down, you can see the existing drawing, what we have from the existing drawing already. So from the existing drawing, from the analysis software, the product structure, when we were doing the drafting, you can see we cut two sections. We'll cut a section at this point and we'll cut a section about this point too. You can see the two sections. I cut a section about this region. Okay, this is section B. You can see the section B, and I also have section A, and it's cut across. Section A is about this region. Now you can see we have a staircase here, which means this place is void. So we'll have a slab panel over here and we'll have another slab panel over here. But for this section, we have all this place to be what? Matte, okay? Even as you can see, the whole of this section is this particular slab. Slab 11, okay, one slab 11, so that's about the way forward. So all this section is being slab. So if we look at it, and we also have on the vertical end, so we have slab C on the vertical end. We'll have it, you can see this is what, this is a C, okay, this is section C on the vertical side. So this is what we have. This is the B. You can see the B is fully covered because of what we have over here. Because of what we have here is fully covered, right? So we are taking numbers of the beams. So since all this section is covered, there is a slab here, there's a slab over here, there's a slab over this panel, and there's a slab over this panel that this section is cutting across, because we're cutting the section from here down to this guy. So what we need to count is, you can see the beams. We have beam 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 along this section. So if you come over, you can see the beam 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now when I'm counting the beams, I'm just counting the beam. I'm not counting necessarily the axis, okay? So you can see for beam 1, from what I counted, you can see 1 is axis 1, 2 is axis 2, 3. The axis 3 is falling in between, okay? Because of this existing beam. This is for grade 3, but we didn't cut section over this area, so you're not expected to see this beam, okay? So you're only expected to see the beam along the area where you cut the section. So that is by the way. So for that, you can see we have the slab over here, we have the beam along that, and we have another beam at 5 and another beam at grid 6. So if you look at it here, you can see the beam at grid 6, beam at grid 5, beam at 4, beam at 2, and beam at 1. So take note of all this. So this, because that is what we have here, and the numerous dimension. So on the same vein, if you look at section A we have just a single panel here and another single panel over here, and this is the void for the staircase, okay, like what we have in the drawing, okay. This is the slab, this is a void for the staircase, and this is the other span. So we are cutting across this whole area, right? So in this vein too, if you look at this whole section is slab, so we're having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same thing over here. That's why we have this beam here to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so it's going to cut it the same way you want. So if you want to rotate this to be what horizontal, fine, depending on what you want to do and how the sheet is, okay, depending on how you want to put it. So let's go over to the section. Let's just pick one and let's try to do what, use one, because it's the same process. Okay, so let's just copy on the grid, section B. Now we'll be looking at section B for example. Okay, so we'll copy this out. I'm going to copy that out because of what I have already on the, because of what I have already over here, because of what I have over here already from my example. So what we just need to do is to get the same thing. But if you look at this critically, you can see that in this section, what we have here, the thickness of this slab, this particular slab, because from here to this is a slab, okay? Whereas we have the concrete cover here. All right, so let's take the dimension to know what we have in the concrete cover. So you can see here we have a concrete cover to be what, 25. So we'll keep the same. So this is above, we have 25 mm concrete cover, and you can see the thickness here is what, 150. You can see 150 as what we have over here. Well, that is the thickness. But in our own scenario, what we're having here, this is what, this is different. In our own scenario, this is 200 millimeter. Okay, we have a thickness of 200 millimeter. Okay. Okay, so in maintaining that, what we just need to do to get the plan, and we have to what, offset the cover. But for you to do that, you have to check. Now when you're throwing your mat, your real mat, your bottom mat, you have to note that you're having your lapping at the what, at this beam, the beam at grid 6, grid 5 rather, the beam at grid 5, that's where we're having our lapping. So no matter what we're doing, our return, if you're having a lapping, something of this nature, we'll be having it along this area. Okay, so in the same vein, let's do that same, let's go with same idea. So what we need to do here now, I'm just going to offset this. I'm going to offset, I want to take the concrete cover of 30 millimeter. Okay, so both up and down, I want to take 30 instead of taking, I'll be taking 30 instead of taking instead of taking 25, okay, instead of taking 25, I'll be taking that. So after this, I can just simply come here now, click on this line, okay, right click, go to copy it. When I copy it, I'm going to come over here because I want it to be at that line whereby I copied, okay. I want it to be at that area where I copied that particular line. So with this now, I'm going to erase what we have under, okay. So let me just extend this so that I will not take much time. Let me extend one. This is the line I first of all offset, okay, to get my concrete cover, because I offset this line and I offset the other line to get the concrete cover, so that here will be what the concrete cover. Because in the example we have of, like I said, that this is just a guide. This is just a guide for you. But if you look at here, we're having a thickness of what, 150, whereas what I'm doing is a thickness of 200. So you just need to know. And we have a concrete cover of one. We have a concrete cover of what? We have a concrete cover of maybe concrete cover of 25, but here we'll be maintaining the concrete cover of what? Of 30. So this is just like a guide that you just use to do your basic slab design. So the same vein, we'll copy the same slab here. Sorry, we've not offset here, so it will be difficult for us. So first of all, let's offset. Okay. First of all, let's offset that area 30. Let's extend it out. So when we copy, it won't be a problem. So we'll just go down here. We'll just go down. I'll click here. Let me offset and copy. I'll click on copy. We'll copy what we have here and we'll paste it on the grid. This will be it. So here we're going to move. We're going to click on move to move the top rebar down to this portion. I will move this also. So we'll do the same thing too to this side of the beam. We'll do the same thing. Let's copy. Let's copy and move it down to the text. Okay, let's move this. That's the top bar that we just copied, and let's place it there. So you can see that this is the length of the return. So you don't need to start drawing and start checking the length of it. Already, since you already have it here, you just copy and paste it there for, easy work, all right, for it to be very fast. So we'll extend it down to this area. I just want to extend it down up to the grid so that I can copy and paste from the grid. So I'm going to copy this top bar because I'm cutting this region. Okay, so let me just copy out. Let me copy what we're doing. So we have B. So before now, let me just match property so that this will be a bit increased so that we'll see what we're doing. So let me move it up, and the same vein, I'll copy it back. Let me copy a reference. Let me take a reference. I just want to take the section point down to this so that we'll understand and know what we are doing here. So if we come over here, I click on it and I escape. So you can see that now this is where we are cutting our grid from. That is straightforward and simple. So now we'll now pick this. I'll pick this axis, copy it, copy this line, go back to our section and paste. Just do copy and paste. Then after which you can take off this line, but I'm not going to take it. I'm going to use the same line. I'm going to move it down to this area so that I can also use it about this span. So come here to click here and I will copy. I'll click here. I'll right copy from the axis and I'll take it because this is what I'll copy from axis 4. So I'll take it to axis 4 on the section and I'll click on axis 4. Click on axis 4. Then there we go. Here we go. Then at this point, you can see we have differences along this region. We have differences at this point. Okay. At this point, we have differences. So what we need here, and we'll have differences over here. So I'm going to break this line. I'm looking for that 30 point, that point. Okay, that should be the point. Yes, that should be the point. Okay, so I'm going to move this upward. I'm going to move this upward a bit, slightly, about 15 cm. Then with this, I'm going to move this a bit backward. I'm going to move this a bit backward, away from the initial line. Then I'm going to create another line to join it. Whereas I can delete this other construction line under. Okay, I can delete the construction line. I just want to create a superimposition like this. Or you can introduce a kink in your own situation if you want to. Okay, because I just want to show the continuation, the lapping. Okay, I just want to show the lapping, how this is going to be lapped. Okay, like what we have here, this lapping, these two lapping. That's what we are trying to show it on the plan, how it's meant to be. I think this is very close. Let's take it about 20. Let's offset about 20. So let me move it. I just offset this other initial line. So I'm going to move it up. Then whereas I'm going to delete this one. Okay, the one I offset first. So I can have that little one, then I can join. I will use fillet to join to cut it. So you can see this is the what? The lapping. This is the lap length. Like I said it should be what? 30, 30. 30 away from the beam and 30 away from the beam. So if that is not correct, then you can just join it, and that is bad. But above all, what you need to do is your what? Diameter times 2. What you're doing to do your rebar times 2, all right? Times 50. So your lap length is going to be length is going to be the formula for you to get your lap length, which you already know is what? 50 times d. So 50 times 12 mm. 50 times 12 mm will be 60. So 60, I have 835, which is very much okay. All right. If it exceed the limit state, then fine. But it must not be less than 60. That's what we are trying to get here. So you can see now we've got all our rebars just exactly the same way you have on the plan. You don't have everything you have on the plan. The plan is supposed to be exactly what you have on your section. You don't have to come here now and now begin to draw. Maybe you come here and terminate. You do your lapping over here. Whereas on the plan, it is terminating on this particular beam. So we have to do it. You have to terminate it where it's going to terminate. The way it is on the plan, that is how it's supposed to be on the drawing. All right. So after that, what you need to do now, you have to get this bubble. Okay, so what we need to do here, we check from center to center. Is it the same spacing from what we have? 200. So this is perfect. So this is the same spacing from what we have. So what we just need to do is just to copy it, because it's already existing. This is 200 spacing. So we just have to copy it and use what we have already. Okay, so let's copy. Let's copy. I'm trying to look at the preferred point by which we're going to copy. So let's copy from this point. Okay, you don't need to keep any specific distance, you just need to copy. In as much as not fall inside the beam, it can't be in the beam. All right, it's not going to be in the beam. All right, you're not going to put your slab reinforcement in the beam, so it's going to be outside. It's going to start from outside the concrete, because in this beam we're going to have a concrete cover even here. So you're going to start from here, and that's how we're going to move it all around. So with that, so here now we're going to still move this up, still move. So that's by the way. So for you to continue stretching, I just have to still copy from here. I'm going to take one point as my reference. Take this midpoint as my reference. Come over here. And that's how we'll keep on clicking. So you can see we don't have anything here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that's what the drawing says. The drawing says it should be 5 numbers. Right? It says it should be 5 numbers. Okay, when you create your return, it says it should be what? 5 numbers of this distribution. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the same thing what we'll be having over here. In as much as here is lapping here, we're going to leave it, and at this point we're going to push this to this point because this is a beam. Okay, so this can be lapped because this is what plus the safety factor of safety. So we just have to leave that and we'll move to the next option here. So click here, click copy the 5, look for a reference point which should be the middle of this so that we'll have it straight. Okay, so let me copy from here back to this, so I can delete this because this is not perpendicular to the existing one what we have. So we're going to take this off. We're going to take this off and we'll say what? Erase. Okay, so if this is 200, well, this will be 4, and our drawing here has to be what? Here has to be 4. So the distance here has to be 4. So if that is 4 from the overall calculation, since we've removed 1 on the overall length, will still take off 1. Since 25, we'll take off that, so we'll have what? 24, because we'll take off 1 from what we'll get here. So that's that. So this is kind of a cross check. So you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other side will have 5. So that's by the way. So now let's just try to copy. Let's just try to copy all of this. Let's move this because it's falling almost in the beam. So let's shift it out a bit, or let's leave it because of what we have here. So I have to copy these rebars, and I'm going to what? Click, take a reference point from here, move down to this point, click, because I'm just creating more of them. So I just have to be repeating the same process, all along. Okay, I'm just trying to repeat the same process, and here I'm going to move it across the beam because it's not meant to be in the beam. So I'm going to shift it outside the beam. So after shifting it outside the beam, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy, find a reference, and I'm going to paste. I'm just doing copy and paste. Okay, copy, you paste, you copy, you paste, you copy, you paste, you copy and paste to get the job easy and fast. Okay, so that's by the way, and you can see the end ending terminating over this point. So we'll come over here and we're going to copy all the rebars. Now I'm going to unselect this by clicking my shift and click on it again. So I'm going to copy, take a reference point from existing one. So I'm going to move over here and start it from this point, and I'll click. And I will also come over here and I'll click too. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take that off. I think there's an adjustment here. There's an adjustment there which we're going to walk it over. Alright, so over here too, we're going to click on this, and the same vein, we'll click on your shift and select it back to unselect that particular icon. So click this region and we'll extend it down here, and we'll click, come over here and we'll click just to replicate what we have. So we'll erase this, and all this on the plan. We'll leave that one. We'll make it fill. Okay. There's some issues here, so I'm going to take off this. So after taking it off, definitely what you just need to do is just to push this, and we'll just get to set this out over here. So right, so just have to do, after doing that, we now have to place this equal. You can see that there is a lot of differences in between all of them. So what we need to do here, I need to place them to be what, equally. So you can see this bend. For the sake of this, let's take this out so that we can get a straight one. So let's undo and have this situation over here. So let me erase this. Then I'll copy. Again, I just have to repeat the process because the one I did at the first time is not giving me what I'm expecting actually. So just click here. Those have to be straight, okay? Because we are maintaining the same spacing at the top and the bottom level, okay? So since we are maintaining the same spacing at the top and the bottom level, they ought to be the same specification, the same spacing, okay? So you can only have something like this in a situation whereby you're having a different spacing. When you're having a different spacing, then you are free to have something of this nature. So right now I'm going to take a reference point from here, because in this, when you're copying, your reference point is very, very important. You have to know where to pick it and how to pick it closely. And you have to zoom close to it so that it's fall in place, okay? So I'm going to take this out because it's not falling in place. I think these are all okay, exception of this. This is not good, so we'll just have to replace it by, we'll copy another one, we'll copy, and we'll get it at the middle. I'm taking it at the middle, so I'll click on the middle of this point because that will be our reference. So in all of this, I just want everything to be what, in the same proportion. That's why I'm doing this. But nevertheless, this area, you can just leave it like this, okay? Don't mind about this, because in a real sense, they're going to lap together, okay? They're going to be buying together. But this is just kind of a space, so we don't need to leave that up. So definitely we just have to check the spacing and check how everything, you can see the return. You can see how we put this rebar. This explains what we are going to have over here. That this is going to be the bottom rebar. This is going to be the bend along the beam, and we're going to reinforce it down over here. So generally you can see what we have here. So we have it on the bottom, and to move up to the, and to have a return, and it's going to go up. So that's what we have. So definitely what we need to do here, we're going to check the size of the beam. If it's the same, then we're going to copy the size of this beam over here and we'll place, since we already have it, okay? Because that is 450 beam. Look at, do we have a 450 beam over here? Yes, it's a 450, and I guess I did some mission where you can see what we have there. That's what we're having, because of that small edge. That's why we're having that 450. Okay, so just wait for it to load. We're having a lot of slow. Okay, so right now we just have to fill it to have a straight edge. So right now let's take another proper dimension right now. So we'll click here and we'll get to the bottom, and at the top I'll have 450. So when we have this, so I just need to copy this beam and replace it. Okay, this is just for sample, just to show you that this is how the beam is supposed to be. Okay, so just need to do same project what we have here. We'll copy. So we're going to put the same thing here. So I'll take this as my reference. Taking that as my reference, I will now have to click here. It's my reference. Then I'm going to do some amendments, okay? Because this ought to be down in this beam. This ought to be in line with it's going to be in line with this slab line. It's not going to be above the slab line. In a real sense, this is going to move down. It's going to move this way, and it's going to come up. So with that, now I'm going to shift this. I can shift this to one edge and we'll leave it. Okay, so we'll take it down. You can fillet it. You can decide to use another radius. Let's click a radius. Let's create a radius of 10. and fillet call the rebar. Okay, so in the same vein, we'll click here and I'll click on this just to call that fillet edge at that point. So that's that. So you can see what we have here. So with this now, I can now copy the beam. So I'm going to copy this beam. I'm going to copy the beam. So we're going to shift this back to the point to make it fall in place. You just have to make it alright, because you can see, because we bring it down, you can see the extension. So we'll highlight this, we'll highlight everything about the beam without touching the top rebar, because we just want to move only the beam. So in this, we just have to copy. Then I have to pick a reference point. So I pick a reference point from here, this point. I'll go to 2, I'll click on it. The same thing, I'll go to 4, I'll click on 4, I'll go to 5, I'll click. In every situation whereby we'll have a beam, so that's the same thing we'll be doing. Just click, make sure you're clicking at the right position, make sure it's not shaking, so that everything is going to fall in place. So avoid more confusions and a lot of editing, you know. So that's by the way. So you can see all the grid, you can see now that we've achieved this. Then we have to do what we call the top, you know, label. So I have to take this, to copy this, and we'll paste them at this point. So I have to click here, basically where I need to create my detail and the label, the call out. I just need to place them at those strategic point. Okay, so here too, I'm going to move this out. I'll copy this from this point, and I'm going to click any of our line here. So this, I don't need this, I use this to create this alignment, so I'm going to take this off. Okay, so by the time I click this, I have my Y12 in this, so I can just space it like this, or you still indicate by creating your bars. Okay, your bars. Okay, we'll create this, so we can introduce our bars over this region. So that is by the way. That's by the way for this, because we're just trying to tell you the bottom rebars. Okay, this same bottom rebar. So this is different, and this is the same thing as this. So let me take this off. Let me take this off. I'll have this, we'll have this, we'll have all of this in place. So the thing is now, we'll now check what is the bar level. You can see we have 12 reinforcements, so we have to go back to the drawing now. You can see this particular reinforcement. This is it, right? So we have to trace it back. That is 23. Look at it here. That's the 23 T12 04 at what? 200. So I have to come over here and say what? 04 T12 at 04. Or if you want, you can put 23 over there, but in this case, I just want to keep it simple, and I'll just place what? Just the T12 and the bar number. So I haven't done that. I'm going to copy. When I copy, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to paste in those areas where they are different. But in a situation whereby you are having something different, then you have to follow it. Then if you come over here, you can see that this drawing fall in between what? 08 for this other rebar. It falls 08. So we'll come over here and we'll pick 08. Let's click it. I'll get 08 for that rebar and the same size of reinforcement and spacing. Okay. So this and this are the same, you can see, and this is a different one. They will now look at the top bar. Because of this other one, I don't want to use the same top bar to use. We can still use the same, do it's a top reinforcement. Look at this. But I just want to keep it because of the return. I don't want to add any top bar at that extent because of the return. But here you can see here we have, because why? You can see the return is still this reinforcement. Okay, that's why I just want to leave it, because it is a top bar. But at this point, you can see this place is a top bar and it has a separate what? It has a reference bar number. So this bar number is what? 05. Okay, this bar number is 05, whereas this other bar number here is 02. Okay, so this will be 02. So let's click on this and highlight, and we'll type 02, 02, and we'll come over here, and what do we have here? This will be 05. Okay, so click 0.5 here, 0.5, and the same spacing, and this will avoid it because of the return. I'll just leave it. So that's by the way. Then for this other mat, when we look at this other mat, if you look at this other mat is what, bar 5, and is what, 11. This is 11 because of this particular bar running through the span and this other span. They'll be called what? They'll be called 11. All right, we call bar 11. Then we'll come to the vertical section of it. We can see over this region. This region will what? Bar 9. So we're going to put 9 over here, and we'll come somewhere here. We're going to put the next bar, which is bar 13. You can see this particular bar is what we are doing. We've already done this. Okay, we've already done this, which is bar 4. So now I want to be looking at these other singular bars. Okay, so what do we do here? Let's go to copy one. We'll copy one of these bar. For easy spacing, let's space them apart. Okay, we're going to click the first one like this. We'll click the second one close to this other bar, and the third one will be somewhere here. So before we do that, we have to check what bar is that. So you can see that this is the at the bottom section. At the bottom section is what? It is bar 9, and at the top section it is bar 11. So what we are going to do right here, we're going to copy one of this. We're going to copy it and reference it up. So the up region, we're going to name it 11. So this is going to be 11, and here is going to be what? 9. So this will be 09, and this will be 09 too. So after doing this, we just have to keep copy all of this, and we're pasting them all along. So copy this. I want to put it at every 2 interval. Wow, we're supposed to copy, and we made the mistake to click on move. So let's do it back. Let's repeat the same. So that's by the way. So when you come over here, I think we'll still have bar 9. So at this point, I think we have a different rebar at that point. So immediately you end at the top region. So what we'll now do, we'll have the next one, which is bar 13. So after that, we'll be having bar 13 from here. So this will be bar 13. To click on bar 13, and we'll copy bar 13. I'll paste them where as required. Okay. This is bar 13. Then immediately after it, you can see that this particular bar 13 stop over here. So we'll be having the next one, which is this particular rebar running from this beam all across. So the next bar is bar 10. Okay. So we'll go to bar 10. So click on this bar and we'll edit it. So make this bar 10. Click on 10. Move it down. I don't want it to overlap on the line. It should just be the same way spacing that we're maintaining. So let's copy. Let's copy this rebar, and we'll place here, and we'll place all here. So that's how we'll maintain the same spacing by 10 all along. So that's how we just have to put all the rebars. Just locate where you have the rebars, and you just have to insert them where needed. Okay, that's for the 10. So that's for this other part. So when you come to the top aspect of it, so we've done with that. You can see bar 10. This is the bar 10, right? This is the bar 10 running across this at the bottom level. Okay, so and this other one is the bar 13, and here we have the bar 9 running across. So coming over here, we have bar 11 at the top. So bar 11 is going to run all the top, exception of this area. Okay, because this area is going to run top and bottom. So in this area, we can still leave this area the way it is, because we did not add anything. We'll have the edge. We'll come to the edge of this. So, or we can still leave it as what? We can still leave it as can still edit it to be what? By 13. Up, still going to repeat as 13. Up, sorry. At 13 up, then here is going to be 11, all 11. So let's copy that. So I'm going to place 11 over here, and I'm still going to create 11 here. So come in here, 11. Create 11. So that's what we'll do. Just keep creating all the 11s. I want to delete that so that we'll have enough space. So I'll create 11. Let's keep on copy. At this point, we'll have 11. I'll have 11. Here now, we're not going to have 11 at this point. But at some point, we're not supposed to have 11. Okay? Some points we're not supposed to have 11. We're not supposed to have 11 at some point. Okay? From this area. Okay? From this area, we're not supposed to have 11 along this zone. Okay? We're not going to have that along this particular zone. But because of what we cut, because of what we cut along this area, because of the extension, we'll cut along this area, which is not interfering with this. So it's still going to be 11. It's still going to be 11. I'm going to explain that better, why I still said it's going to be 11. I'm going to explain that better, okay? Because if you look at this particular area, we are cutting a section here now. Look at, this is where we are cutting our section. We are cutting our section from this point down to this point, okay? Let's change this section so that we'll understand better. We'll have a clear understanding of what we are looking at. Now you can look at, we have a section cut across this point. So if I was looking at this initially, I was looking at using this to replace this. Sorry, to replace this. Because this is supposed to run 5 here, run 4, run 5, and run along this distance and this. But if you look at where we cut the section, we didn't cut the section, it's not supposed to touch this. So this is going to repeat itself over here. So that's why we take 11 all through the span and 11 over here, okay? That's why all through the top bar remains 11 as a distribution bar. Then we'll have various one to represent the bar. So this is how you detail your proper reinforcement, okay? This is how you create your steel. Then after that, we can do what we call match property, or you can copy something of this section, because we have a section here. This is B, so I'm going to erase this. I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to name this section what? Section B, because it's already B already. So I'm going to name it section B. So we'll be naming this section B. So after that, what you just need to do is to take care of the dimension and place the dimension as please. You can see, then you can do your dimensioning and put your dimension as please in this area. Okay, you can just try to do a dimension. So you can cut the dimension. Then this dimension is just to serve the purpose of what? Just for you to understand how the dimension is going to be. Okay, what we are supposed to cut and where we're supposed to measure. All right, for the rebars. So you just have to detail all that, okay? But maybe you might not need to stress yourself. Maybe you might not need to put it in the section here. The reason being that we already have the section on the plan, okay? We already have the section on the plan, so you can read it on the plan and you can use it. So most times, if you don't have it on the plan, you can add it in the section. But the situation whereby you have it already on the plan, the dimension of all of this joint, then we can decide to fulfill this to just have to make it look simple and sweet. So we're going to take this off because we are done with what we have. So you're going to see what we have. So after this, you're going to do your dimension for you to get the total element here. This is 450. And what will be the thickness? The thickness will be what? Thickness will be what? 200. So this is the level height. So if you want to keep the level height, fine. If you don't want, you can take this level height out, because tell you that from the ground floor down to this place, that's from your DPC down to the first floor slab, is going to be what? 3.3 meter. That is what it's calculating. So we've come to the end of this video. This is how you can be able to detail your slab and get the proper section. So if you don't want to do this, what you need to do, you can copy a concrete section. A concrete section is just a full section like this, okay? A full section without a reinforcement. So you can also create something of that nature. So if you've not watched this video and you've got to this level, please watch it to subscribe to the channel. This will help us grow. But thanks, we're so happy that we've got to 80 subscribers. Please, want to keep the roll moving, want to get to over 2,000 subscribers. Just have to start a journey. I will start small. Please, family, let's contribute to the growth of this channel. Please, I'm so happy. If there's any chance, if there's any idea, if there's anything you want us to share, any review you want us to share on this channel, please be free to let us know. So we're going to shoot such video and make it right to you. So please, thanks and bye for now. And before we go, if you need a template like this, there's a link in the description that you can click and go to the channel on the store to get something like this. And if you want to enroll in a training, also enroll a training where will train you better, whereby you'll be having opportunity to ask the question regarding some confusion where you're confused about the whole structure. If you want design, if you want detailing, there's a concrete design and detailing of every kind of detailing, from drawing to bridge to any kind of detail that you might not touch, that you might on your own want to cover and be acquainted with. We can still enroll you on that. We have different types of design. Mind you, some other person, this might just be a kind of a clear pattern, because for you this might just be a thumb rule, because that one will be every other type of design, kind of a template by you use. So when you enroll such design, we're going to take you through different types of slab design and different types of slab identification. So if you are that person that is interested in this enrollment, please feel free to hint us and give us a call, and we'll be so delighted to have you around. Thanks and bye for now.